Today I would like to talk to you about the start South Africa has made to 2022. Near the end of last year, some commentators predicted that 2022 was probably going to be the year that the wheels totally fall off in South Africa, and we would see the culmination of the last 27 years of total incompetence, corruption, institutional theft, tyrannical gangster governance, and financial delinquency. These same commentators said that 2022 was most probably going to be the year that chaos breaks out here. The chances of civil war has never been as high as it is right now, not even in the early 90s. Most people brushed it off, branding us as alarmists. So let us look at what kind of a start we have had to 2022 already, and it isn't even the end of January yet. Most people had not even recovered from their New Year's celebration hangovers yet, and Parliament was on fire, literally. Not only did it burn, they very conveniently caught a homeless guy outside who had decided to steal, amongst other things, laptops, cutlery, and documents. All this while the Parliament buildings were left unguarded, the fire protection systems were left inoperable, and the fire doors were conveniently left open. As if this pill wasn't difficult enough for us to swallow, they tell us that this homeless guy has a mental problem, so he is shipped off for mental observation. All this without asking the homeless guy one single question in court. Is it just me, or is this a big fat dead rat I smell? Before the smoke at the Parliament buildings had cleared, we had someone going and smashing the windows of the Constitutional Court. And then we had a fire break out at the Waterkloof Air Force Base. On the domestic front, we have had very close to one farm attack every single day this year. Cash in transit robberies are a daily occurrence too. I would call that a fantastic start to the year, wouldn't you? What else noteworthy can we report this year? We have had 158 firearms stolen from a police station in one single robbery, making the police and the military, by far, the biggest supplier of illegal firearms. Nice, eh? We have heard that the UK announced that they were going to be cancelling all their COVID mandates, meaning that it will no longer be necessary for the population to wear masks anywhere, no social distancing anywhere, no vaccine mandates, and no vaccine passports mandates. I wonder why Boris Johnson made this sudden, drastic decision. Could it be that the virus suddenly vanished? Could it be that the science has finally prevailed? Or could it be that poor Boris has just come to the realization that if he doesn't put an end to this nonsense right now, he could possibly be dragged into the streets one of these days and given what he deserves for taking part in the biggest farce the world has ever seen? That would be my guess. The people are seeing through this pandemic bullshit and are getting hungry for blood. Those who, out of pure sheepish ignorance, went and rolled up their sleeves are slowly coming to the realization that they have very likely been poisoned. To what level they have been poisoned seems to depend on which poison and which batch you were injected with. Either way, it is now pretty much clear that if you rolled up your sleeve, you have been poisoned to some degree. One by one, the European countries are following suit and cancelling the mandates. I see some heads rolling pretty soon over this. On home turf, we have recently had the state of disaster once again extended until the 15th of February. But then we hear that the head clown Ramaphosa is considering following suit with the UK and other European leaders, who seem to have suddenly discovered the value of their lives. What do we see next? We see scholars come out of the woodwork saying that he can't just scrap the whole thing, because as soon as he does that, they are liable for all the losses of income, losses of life, and injuries people have experienced as a result of this bullshit. But most of all, they will lose control, and that is where it gets really interesting. Watch this space. So besides the global fraud that has just taken place, on the domestic front, our government has just borrowed another gigantic sum of money from the World Bank. Money that they will never be able to pay back in 1,000 years. Yet they borrowed it and we the people had no say in the matter, although you and I are responsible for repaying that debt at the end of the day. Yes, it's been a fantastic start to the year. I'm sure the rest of the year is going to be anything but boring. People, there is no way to turn this ship around. We have hit the proverbial iceberg and we are sinking. Expect things to get very exciting this year. I'm sure all of you have watched a boxing match, where one of the fighters receives a devastating knockout punch that should send him crashing to the floor. Yet, he stays on his feet, eyes glazed over, his guard dropped. Nobody can explain how he is still standing because he is literally unconscious on his feet. He staggers around not knowing where he is or which way to go, until his opponent comes in and gives him the final blow that sends him crashing to the canvas like a tall tree that has just been cut down. South Africa has already received that killer knockout blow. It is unconscious, but still somehow we are on our feet staggering around aimlessly, when by rights we should be laying on the canvas. Nobody knows what is keeping us going, but all it is going to take is one more punch to send this country into the dust. If, however, you would like to get away from all of this madness, to once again have a country you can call your own, a country where the law actually means something, a country worth fighting for, then I would urge you to go to the website of the ULA and just say yes to secession. You don't have to do anything else, just say yes. If you are one of those people who would love to secede, but still believe that it is impossible for whatever reason, why not just go to the ULA website and say yes anyway, and give them a chance to try proving you wrong? What have you got to lose? There is a link to the ULA website in the description field. To those who still cling to the notion that the Boere will take back this country, I urge you to take a step back and realize that it is physically impossible. You are living in a dream world and your dreams are clouding your ability to count. Do you remember the words, "Ons sal antwoord op jou roepstem, ons sal offer wat jy vra, ons sal lewe, ons sal sterwe, ons vir jou, Suid-Afrika." Those are words every one of us has sung at some point in our lives, and every time we sung them, we were making a promise, which we did not keep. We broke that promise, and it is too late now. South Africa is ruined. It is done for. South Africa is now just another African failure. I would suggest that you learn from this lesson and learn from your mistakes, because there is no going back from here, my friends. If you don't believe what I am saying, if you think that I am just sowing fear and exaggeration, I would urge you to read the 2022 Global Risk Report by the World Economic Forum. It is a long and difficult read, but if you have the time to sift through it, you will find some very alarming forecasts for South Africa in 2022. To illustrate to you what these forecasts are, I would like you to watch the following short video clip by John B. Wells, a well-known commentator who is not known for spreading lies or false information. He did read the report. Watch it, and then I am going to tell you something very interesting about these forecasts.
This isn't a pleasant read at all. The WEF says South Africa faces a threat of state collapse and a military coup isn't out of the question. The World Economic Forum has published its Global Risks Report for 2022, assessing the biggest threats to over 100 countries, and the forecast for South Africa is really grim. South Africa, the second America, one way or another. The number crunchers at the World Economic Forum have identified 5 major risks for each nation featured in the index. Economic, environmental, and geopolitical factors are all considered by the researchers. And in amongst the challenges facing Manzani in the years ahead, a total state collapse has flown to the top of the list. The term, which refers to the rule of law completely failing and governments dissolving as a result of political upheaval, is one that causes great anxiety, and the WEF aren't using it lightly. In the past 6 months, South Africa has experienced deadly riots, attacks on its national key points, and of course an alleged act of arson at Parliament. State collapse, therefore, is firmly in the picture unless South Africa pulls itself together. So what are the biggest risks facing South Africa in 2022? The same ones that we face on a longer timeline. Number 1 is prolonged economic stagnation. Manzani could be throttled by near zero or slow global growth lasting for many years. Number 2, employment and livelihood crises. Structural deterioration of work prospects remains a huge concern. Number 3, state collapse. The threat of internal conflict, an erosion of law, and even a military coup is rife in South Africa. Number 4, failure of public infrastructure. Insufficient public infrastructure and services due to mismanagement has been flagged. Witness Bowser's D.C. and Lightfoot's Chicago and Newsom's California. Number 5, the proliferation of illicit economic act. The impact of illicit financial flows, illegal trade, and human trafficking could be severe. State collapse, economic stagnation, and a lack of work opportunities. South Africa stands at a crossroads. South Africa also forms a clutch of countries that face social cohesion erosion in 2022. This will see levels of poverty expand.
We all know that the World Economic Forum is headed by Mr. Klaus Schwab of the Fourth Industrial Revolution fame, the Great Reset fame, and synonymous with the saying, "You will own nothing, and you will be happy." The World Economic Forum is in cahoots with the World Bank, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, George Soros, and all the other elites we often hear about. If you remember correctly, we were warned about the current pandemic by these people a long time before it started. We have now been warned of future pandemics, which, by the way, have started in China already. What makes you think that this report is not just another warning telling us what is in fact going to happen in South Africa this year? Don't you think we should at least be prepared for that, just in case? Our only hope is to make a fresh start in our own country where we are once again in charge of our own fate. If we don't succeed, we will not survive what is coming here. It is that simple. This is our very last chance, and if we blow it, there is literally no chance of a future for us here. Please like and share this on as many platforms as possible. It is the only way that my message gets out there. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, I have to ask why not? You have nothing to lose. If you would like to make a contribution to my channel and my work, in the description field I have made provision for local as well as international listeners to make a contribution. If you'd like to make a crypto contribution, also in the description I have provided a Bitcoin as well as an Ethereum wallet address. If you would like to contribute any other cryptos, simply send me an email to the address also in the description and I will reply with a relevant wallet address. To all those amazing people who do make a contribution, I say a huge thank you. Without your contributions, these recordings would not have been possible at all. Until next time, be safe out there.